Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tejumola Akinwande. If you are new on this channel, thank you very much. Thank you very much for stopping by. What took you so long? Please hit the subscribe button somewhere on the screen. It's just going to take less than a second. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for liking my content, for subscribing, for commenting, for sharing my content. I really appreciate it. So, I'm sure by the thumbnail you already know what we're talking about today. This is my story. This is my experience, and I'm here to share it because why not? And then also, it might be um of use to somebody out there. I'm always documenting. This is my diary, right? And I'm always documenting my experiences here. So I'm just going to jump right into the video. But before I jump right into the video, please take a moment to subscribe. Okay, let me give you say 1 minute so you can subscribe. Thank you very much for subscribing. For context, right, I'd like to make a comprehensive explanation of what Ielts means. Ielts is International English Language Testing System. So this is like an examination that you take when you're trying to, you take it for so many reasons. Sometimes you take it for educational reasons, and sometimes you take it for immigration reasons. I took it personally for immigration reasons, and it was part of the requirements that I needed to do to get my to submit my permanent residency application to Canada. And then, by the way, if you like to hear my story, my PR story of how I got my PR and everything, timelines and all that processes, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to share my story with you guys, and then I'll also put in tips for you. And then if you watch this video to the very end, of which I would want you to watch it to the very end, there's a tip I want to give. So please keep watching, okay? Thank you. So International English Language Testing System, IELTS, was the exam I needed to write at the time. And I was applying for my permanent residency, myself and my family. And I took this examination 5 times. I kid you not. I took this exam 5 times, and trust me, I'm not dull. I am not dull. I'm not slow at all. I'm a very smart kid, but somehow I just found myself, taking this exam more than once. So I'm going to pretty much carry you along on my journey. So please let me cook, okay? So I made my first attempt in 2019. I was made to understand that I was going to take an exam, myself and my husband. But I'm going to be saying my side of the story. My husband will say it later, maybe not, who knows. So I made to understand that I was going to write IELTS examination. I said, okay, is it not English? I went to Google, I said IELTS, English language. We'll fail and we'll rock it, Jerry. Let me just, let's get this exam done and dusted. So okay, my friend, okay, shout out to you. She was already doing her own processing at the time. I'm like, okay, let me even reach out to my friend and ask. So my friend was like, this exam is a big deal. Oh, it's not a test for knowledge, oh, but you have to study. And I honestly didn't see the need to study because I'm like, English, what is the verbal reasoning? Fill in the gap. Morgan. So basically, I did not make any research about the examination. Quite frankly, my friend sent me some materials to study. She gave me some links to go online and study, but I just did not see the need because I didn't know what the exam entailed. They play my fans. I booked the examination for a certain date in 2019, I think December or November, I can't remember now. And I went for the examination with blank head. And if you know this examination well, you would know how it works, that it's not even about what you read, it is about the strategy and the techniques you have in your head to answer these questions, right? But if you're not prepared, if you don't know anything about it, you is a failure already on its own. Even if you know the answers to the question, if you don't know how to answer these questions, you are already failed. So I went into the exam hall and hmm, I honestly was shocked. The way the exam works, you are going to be writing 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So you get to do the first 3 modules: listening, reading, and writing in the examination, or then the speaking you get to do it before or after your exam date. So for speaking, you're going to meet with an examiner. An examiner will ask you questions, and then you get to answer them to the best of your abilities. But they expect that you're fluent, you know what you're talking about, you're confident, and you can speak English. This is just to test that you can speak good English, right? Then for listening, they're going to give you an headset to put on the headset in the exam hall. So they're going to play some recordings in the headset, and they expect you to write, as they are playing the recording, as they are playing the audio, the answers are already in the audio. So they expect that you start writing the answers immediately into your answer booklet. Not like you're going to not like they're going to give you 1 grand or listen and explain. No, or listen to the recording and write your answer later. No, you are meant to start writing the answers immediately. Then for reading, they give you a passage and they give you questions, and you're supposed to answer the questions. But the reading, you are not allowed to formulate answers in your head. The answers are exactly in the question, in the comprehension passage. They expect you to lift this answer and put it in the question, in your answer booklet. Not like you say, oh, it looks like it looks. No, they expect you to lift it and put. Then the writing, of course, it comes in 2 parts: task 1 and task 2. By the way, I did the general training. For Ielts, there are 2 types. There's academic for education purpose or for nurses or something. And then there is the general training for immigration, and also I did the general training. So for general training, the writing task 1 and task 2. Task 1, you have to write a letter, whether formal letter, informal letter, or semi-formal. Then the task 2, you have to write an essay. They give you any topic, and then you have to elaborate on the topic and share your knowledge. So for the task 1, you are expected to, write whether formal or informal, depending on the question they give you. You're expected to have like about a certain number of paragraphs. So if you don't know this information beforehand, you're going to fail, because you won't even know how many paragraphs you're expected to write. You won't know the tactics, you won't know the technique. But don't worry, watch this video to the end. I'm going to give you the techniques on how you can easily, pass your IELTS exam. Then for task 2, the essay, there's a certain number of paragraphs you're supposed to have, and there's a way your paragraph has to flow into one another, and there's another way that you need to use grammar. There are certain, metrics that they use in rating your write up, right? So all these things and more were the things I was supposed to learn, study before going to the examination. Of voila, I was just, I didn't I so I just didn't study. Okay, so because I thought it was there. When we got to the exam hall, and then the listener started playing the recording, Mumumi. I was waiting for them to finish playing the recording so that I can now start answering the question. So I was like, they gave me question paper. I was expecting answer booklets, right? I was like, they gave us question paper. Sure, we should write the answer inside the question. I don't understand. These people should give me answer booklets now. But I didn't even ask a question. I was going with the flow, like, okay, let's see how it goes. So then the recording started. I was looking around me. I was seeing people writing. I'm like, what are they writing? They are still reading the questions. I'm so embarrassed. But it is what it is. If I don't share my story, who will? So I saw people writing beside me, and I'm like, why are people writing? I don't know. This is still the question. After the whole passage, they will not ask a question in the audio, but I was sure jotting things down. Thank God for the small, small jottings that I was jotting down, in the question paper. So they'll play the audio in sections. They say section 1 It was then section two they read. So when the section one ended, I was still so I quickly I just waved to one of the invigilators in the exam hall and I'm like, please, can I get an answer booklet? I have not the look, I mean the bombastic side eye that man gave me that day. I just knew I had messed up. I just knew I had fumbled because it was like answer booklets. Okay. So he just came and said, so you have to, so have you been writing? He said, he asked me, have you been writing? I said, yeah, I've been making some notes. He said, no, you're supposed to write it directly into your question paper. Um, but thankfully, it was just in section one, right? So there were other sections like section two, section three, and I can't remember how many sections there were right now. So the section two started, and then I quickly, I started writing down but you just also understand that as the section progresses, it gets harder. The audio gets harder. You hardly hear what they're saying, and you have to pay attention. And remember that I'm already destabilized. You already told me that the O section one, I failed the O section one already. So I was at that point, my whole day had been ruined. But I kept my cool, sha. I kept my cool, and then I was just going with the flow. So when they started playing the recording for section two, I tried to, get the feel. I tried to make some. I just tried. I couldn't hear anything the audio was saying because I wasn't paying attention. My mind was just racing up and down. Like I just did what I had to do, and that went by. I finished the whole section. I think about four parts. I finished it. Then for my reading, I also goofed, of course, because to be honest, I didn't read the comprehension passage from start to finish. I was just lifting the answers from the question. I was lifting it into my answer booklet directly. But the where I missed it in my reading was when I didn't see the answers, and of course the answers were there, but I didn't see because I didn't know what and how to answer those questions. So I just thought, what could be the answer? They were asking something about the geographical location of. I was just like, this should be like climate now. I just put climate there. Like climate, not even day the passage for goodness sake. But I sha wrote like I'm just giving an example. I sha wrote something related that I thought would be the answer, which I was not supposed to do. I did that for like the most part of the reading and of course a recipe for failure. And then for my writing, I was writing in a layman English, like oh my goodness. I was writing like I was gisting with my friend. Meanwhile, I was supposed to bring my A game, No, I was right. In fact, the paragraphs I wrote, even though they would say write 150 words or 250 words, sometimes I didn't even see that. I didn't read the instruction. I was just very careless in my first IELTS exam. And in my speaking, of course, that speaking, I tried. I mean, I did well in my speaking for the first time, but the rest I failed woefully. I did a paper based because of course you can do computer based and paper based. I did the paper based and 13 days later when the results came out, I failed. I failed and I cried because I did not know this exam was that hard. Well, not like it was hard. It was just that I just didn't study. So I waited for it to pass and then I knew I was going to write again. And the second time, um, I was heavily pregnant, but I was just like, let me just try this thing again. That was like about 6 months after my first exam. Like, let me just try again. I mean, what are the odds? Let me go to YouTube and, learn and get some practice done. And then, let me just see let me try and, so we paid again. Bear in mind, this IELTS exam at the time was about 68,000 or 86,000. I can't remember. It was just about that range, right? It was below 100k. I hear it's now about 200k or something. I mean, it's crazy, man. Okay, so I paid again for the second exam, and but I was heavily pregnant, right? I could remember I was sleeping in the exam or And I don't know who sent me. I was sleeping in the exam hall, but I didn't still know the tactics that I know now that I'm going to share. But it was better than the first one. I mean, I was more prepared than the first one. So I went into the exam hall. Of course, I tried. When I came out of the exam, my husband was asking me, "How was the exam?" I said, "Oh, I tried. Oh, the listening, I wrote it immediately. Oh, boom, Canada, here we come. Boom, you know." But people of God, I failed. I mean, I failed woefully. The first time I had 4.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, and that 6.5 was in my speaking that I said I did well. The second time I had 5, 5, 5, 6. The 6 was also in my speaking, you know. So at that point, I just said, no, I'm not doing again. I'm not writing any exam again. I told my husband, see, you can go and do it too. For me, I am done. I am done. So I didn't bother doing the exam again. I just left it for the longest. I stopped trying, and then we just carried on with our lives and we just moved on. So it was I did the first exam in 2019, second exam in March 2020. If you know, I was heavily pregnant at the time, and so I left it. I didn't bother. Plus, when I had my baby, I forgot Canada. I forgot. I forgot relocation. I was, it was COVID time, and of course, the whole world was going crazy at the time. So I just didn't bother. So 2021. So I said, okay, no, let me try it again. I told my husband, let's try to write again. And March 2021, I tried again. I I tried, I read, I studied. I honestly did study it, but somehow I just failed. So, but my third attempt, I won't say I failed, but I did not meet the criteria that I needed. So, for every module you write, you need at least 6 to enter the pool, right? So, for me, and you need 6 to enter the pool, but you need about 8, 8.5 for the kind of, PR program that we wanted to apply for at the time. So the third one I did, I had 7, 7, 7 or something else. So, but it wasn't like I failed. To somebody else, it's a perfect result. But to me, it didn't meet the PR program that I needed it for. I was able to enter the pool, but I was not able to use it because by the time you calculate the old score, it was next to nothing. So I still failed. None. Abby. In 2021 April, I did it back to back. I failed in March, so I said, okay, I'm not even going to give this a chance. Since this thing, I'm already in the spirit, let me just attack it heads on. So the fourth attempt, my husband and I got a tutor to, train us and, teach us exactly what we were missing that has been making me fail this exam for the past God knows how many months. So, and trust me, the tutor was so great. She was she was so spot on. It was an online, it was an online tutoring, and then she was she was so great. She knew our onions. She knew our onions so well. She was so perfect. And she trained me. And she's already in Canada. I'm not even sure she's still tutoring. I mean, I can check that, and then if any of you need that services, I can always refer you to her. She's so good. So I went to the exam all the fourth time and I passed. I passed, but it still did not meet the express entry PR criteria that we were looking for. It was almost like we needed to max out because the highest score you can have is 9 for all the 4 modules, 9, 9, 9. And the lowest you can have for us that, because everybody's story is unique. So but the lowest that we could have was, I think, 7.5 and the highest 9. So I won't, it's the fourth one. I had a great score, but it didn't still meet the criteria. So I had to write again. So immediately the results came out for the fourth attempt. I quickly did my simulation and I saw that I didn't cut it. I was sad. I was very sad. It was, in fact, I think I cried. I shed a tear or two that day because I'm like, oh no, it didn't meet the criteria. So Immediately that day, I paid for the fifth time, but I made sure that I extended the date a bit because I knew that I needed time to study. Thankfully, at the time, my boss went on, it was in April, so my boss went on Easter leave or something. So I took the whole period that my boss was off. I took it off as well from work, and put it in. I put in the work. I studied like my life depended on it. I could not, and thankfully I had help. So child care was not my problem. You know, cooking was not my problem. Going to work was not my problem. I had all the time to myself. So I studied, and voila, hmm, I passed. And I did not just pass on the fifth attempt, I maxed out. I maxed out. I'm going to attach my results somewhere on the screen. I maxed out. I was so happy. I was so excited because, of course, Canada, here we come. I remember sending my result to a friend and he said, "Welcome to Canada." He said, "Welcome to Canada." Like, I'm just going to encourage somebody else. If you're writing IELTS, if you're in that phase, please don't relent. Please don't relent. Don't think you're alone. You're not alone. As a matter of fact, I'm not the only one that I've written multiple times, and you would not be the first as well. I know somebody that wrote 14 times. He kept writing and writing. I mean, I understand the financial constraints that may come because it's now 200K or something, and it's not cheap, and you can't afford to be writing and writing and writing, which is why I'm going to leave you with these few tips. So the first tip I'll be sharing for speaking is that you need to create a rapport with your examiner. Honestly, it works like magic. The moment you get into the office, because it's going to be in an enclosed area, because they need to catch your voice so it could be recorded for marking, right? So the moment you get into that office or wherever the exam is, you need to create a rapport with your examiner. Don't be afraid of anything. I mean, we are all humans. You'll be tense, but the only escape route for being tense is creating a rapport with your examiner. I mean, when you get into the exam, all shake hands, smile, sound confident, bring out your chest, and it is the technique you need to learn, not the questions per se, because the questions are just, if you know the techniques, no matter what question they bring, you will be able to answer it. So the for the speaking, the moment they throw the question at you, they give you pencil and paper to jot your thoughts down before you start speaking, so that you can gather your thoughts together, so you don't start rambling and being all over the place. So use that moment to think through, think outside the box. But don't forget to create a rapport with your examiner. This would ease you up. It will let you flow with the exam in the exam. It will let you, answer seamlessly. Whatever the question is, you'll be able to quickly gather your thoughts together and answer the question. And also, another tip for your speaking is just be confident. Even if you're not, even if you're not sure of what you're saying, be confident. When they say be confident in speaking your rubbish, exactly. Then the third tip I'll be giving you is don't stop talking. So if the examiner asks you a question like, okay, tell me about yourself, for example, and then you start saying, oh, my name is Tejumola Akiwande, my name is, and then you start talking. Don't stop talking on, let the examiner be the one to stop you. Okay, so because it just shows that you don't have anything to say, and the examiner will just be looking at you. For every question, there's an allocated time for you to answer that question. Say, so for every question, they expect you to answer it in 2 minutes, or some in 30 seconds. But just don't stop talking. Let the examiner be the one to stop you from them. I can also leave a link in my description box for some materials that would help you, for the speaking. So for the listening, the first tip is the moment you hear the recording, the moment the recording starts to play in your ear, start to write immediately, but don't waste time on one question because they are not good. They will even tell you from the start this recording will not be repeated. So just move on. The one mistake people make is when they miss a particular answer from the recording, they wait and try to rack their head and see. No, don't wait. Just keep on. So for the reading, you are not allowed to formulate answers by yourself. No, don't assume. The answer is in the question, is in the comprehension passage, right? Just lift it and put it. So they will not say, "Oh, it looks like." No, there's nothing like it looks like. It is. If it is not it, if it is not it, then it's not it. If it is not the answer, then it's not the answer. If it doesn't look like it, don't then just drop it. It is not the answer. The answer is definitely in the question. So let's say they say Tejumola is a beautiful woman. Let's say that's the sentence, and they're asking you the question is Dash is a beautiful young woman. Of course, you know that Tejumola, they just put that Tejumola there. They don't want you to say, oh, maybe Adasha Kenny, Abi Priscilla. No, just put that Tejumola there because that is exactly the answer. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but that is exactly the tip for reading. And then also, of course, you need to study, you need to practice, you need to, practice and practice and practice how to answer. You need to just focus on how to answer the question, not exactly what questions they are going to ask. You need to focus on how to answer the questions, okay? So for the writing part, you need to follow the instruction. So for task one, they'll say write 150 words. But the truth is, you can actually write a bit above the 150 words, but don't go below 150 words. Actually, once you are writing, count your words and make sure that it is exactly 150 or a bit above 150. Don't make it below because that is one major reason why people fail writing. And then for the task two, it says 250 words. Also, same thing applies. Don't go below 250 words. Then the second tip I'll be giving in writing for task two is please and please I beg you do not use ordinary English like so I'm going and then I came back. No, please use vocabulary because these are one of the things they want to see in your writing. Use vocabulary. So, for example, if you want to say in many nations, if you want to write something like an essay and you want to say in many nations, don't say in many nations. Don't just write it like that. So, in plethora of nations, something like that. They want to see vocabulary. They want to see the charisma of English in your writing. Say you want to say in some cities, don't say in some cities. Say they want to see in a metropolitan or environment or something like that, something grand. They don't want they don't want you to write layman English. No, they want you to write. I don't want you to come with your A game, and they want you to write correct English. So the third tip I'll be giving is write correct English. So, for example, I am or am or all those kind of I am or there or something Their is different from There. All these little mistakes are why people fail IELTS exam, and then they are so easy to miss. You would not even pay attention because you are just rushing. So the number of paragraphs required for task two is about I think 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is the introduction, and the second one is the so you have the introduction at the top, the first one introducing the topic, introducing the topic. The second paragraph is buttressing the introduction. The third paragraph is the main body where you really delve in. And then the last paragraph is the general summary where you write your summary of all the things you wrote in the body, right? But just try as much as possible to write up to 250 words and make sure you hit the nail on the head. For example, they ask you to write, compare maybe advantages and disadvantages. Please don't write tabular form. Write it in a full sentence and make your statement, make your point, make your point. And then for your letter, Of course, the letter, write your dear sir, dear ma. If it is formal letter, write your dear formal dear sir or dear madam. If it is informal letter, write your the name of your friend, dear friend, the name of your friend, or if it is semi-formal, maybe you're addressing your landlord, you say dear Mr., something like that. And then at the end of the letter, if it is formal, yours faithfully. If it is semi-formal, you can put best regards, and if it is informal, you can put yours sincerely or stuffs like that. So these are the tips that you need. You need to know your onions when it comes to IELTS exam, or else you just keep failing. The techniques are very, very important. Know what they expect from you, and what they really want to see in your answers. So I've come to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did filming, because I totally enjoyed reliving my story, and it brings back lots of memories for me. But your job is not done here. You still need to please hit the subscribe button. Please like my content, because the moment you click that like button, what YouTube does is that it takes it up for other people to see. It showcases my content to the world. And how would I be able to achieve that if you don't do that? Please help me. Help your girl, please. And then please drop that comment in the comment section if you want me to share my PR story, and also drop comments. Generally, let's keep up the conversation in the comment section. The conversation doesn't end, right? It doesn't end. And then please, please, please share my content. Please, I'm begging you, share my content. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.